Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming here to the roundtable discussion, and everyone who's joining us virtually. I understand we have quite a crowd out there, so that's awesome and great to hear. It's a bit of a new format for us, so we'll go slowly through it. My name is Roddy Fynn. I'm the Executive Director of the Delaware Broadband Office, and we're here today for a Digital Equity Roundtable. And what we're trying to do today is get folks in Delaware who are stakeholders in digital equity work, and we're going to explain more of what that means, invested in the real digital needs and barriers that are facing Delawareans. And so a bit of a new format. We're going to be trying an in-person discussion here, watched by folks at home and in their offices. And hopefully it'll spark some inspiration across Delaware to get more involved in digital equity. So to start off with, we'll go down the table and everyone can introduce themselves, and then I'll give an overview of our digital equity planning process. And then we'll have short talks, presentations from some of the folks here about the work they're doing, and then we'll have a bit of conversation and follow-up. So thank you all for joining. And Jessica, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you, Roddy. Thank you for having us, and hello, everyone out there. My name is Jess Gibson Brokenbow. I'm the Executive Director of NerdIt CARES. NerdIt CARES is a comprehensive nonprofit organization that provides access to resources. Excuse me. I thought that was going to happen. Access to digital equity, which is a perfect topic for us. We provide workforce development training opportunities. In addition to that, we also provide access to technology. So we're really happy to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you. Sheila.
I'm Sheila Grant, and I'm from AARP. We know that seniors have some unique challenges when it comes to technology, and we've also done some good work to try to help them surmount those challenges. And I just want to say I'm really excited that NerdIt CARES is here today, too.
Thank you.
Well, that was a big. So I'm Alta Porterfield, statewide social innovator for Delaware Libraries. That is working with the Division of Libraries as a contractor and working with all the public libraries and partners. So I'm excited that all the partners are here, and I welcome more and more partners to join with the libraries into this great need for our state and for the United States.
Buenos días con todos. Good morning, everyone. My name is Francisco Zambrano. I'm the Director of Family Support Services with the Latin American Community Center, the LACC. Well, the LACC has 4 buckets of service. We provide early childhood services, youth development, prevention and advocacy, and family support services, where we have been challenged since COVID with providing digital equity to our clients in order they can have access to the digital benefits that now we are living. So I'm very glad to be here and be part of this roundtable.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And we'll have some more folks who are coming in. Schedules weren't exactly aligning all the time, so we might have some more folks join us up here. And thank you to everyone who was here. And thank you to our technical wizards who are streaming this. We have some folks doing interpretation, so we're going to try to speak slowly and not speak over each other to make this as accessible as possible for everyone who's watching along at home. Also, a thank you to our congressional delegation. We've got a representative here from Lisa Blunt Rochester's office. We also have great allies in Senator Carper, Senator Coons, and Governor Carney in particular, doing really amazing work. And thank you to our hosts here at the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center. So to kick us off, I'm going to talk a bit about what digital equity is and what our planning process is like. So digital equity is a really broad term that I think is new to a lot of people. Even people doing digital equity work don't necessarily think of what they're doing as digital equity. And what it really means is what is the work we need to do to overcome all the barriers that people face to take full benefit of the internet in 2023. So it looks at everything like devices, skill building, accessibility for people who living with disabilities. It looks at jobs. Do we have a digital workforce here in Delaware? And is that workforce reflective of the diversity of our state? So it's a really broad term, and something that Kim and I, so Kim Siegel, our digital equity manager, is here in the room, have realized as we've been kind of standing up this our office is a lot of folks in Delaware are doing amazing digital equity work and don't know it. Like, they're already doing the work and they're doing incredibly innovative things. They just don't call it digital equity. So one of the things we want to do today is get more folks to realize that there's really cool, amazing stuff happen, and maybe our office, the Delaware Broadband Office, can help scale those programs or create good connections between different organizations to help overcome these barriers for Delawareans. And the way that we're primarily doing this is through implementing a program that's a federal program called the Digital Equity Act. And that under that program, every state in the country is going to be receiving funding to grow capacity for digital equity work within their state. Delaware is expected to get about $12 million from that program. So it's a really great chunk of money, one-time money, and we're hoping it might become reoccurring later. But for the moment, one-time money that we're going to be able to put to work here to scale organizations, to create new organizations where there are gaps. But for us to gain access to that funding, we needed to put something together called the Digital Equity Plan that is live right now at our website, broadband.delaware.gov. So go to our website and you can read our plan. But I want to give some context to the plan that will also give some context to our conversation, because a lot of times when you're talking about federal grants, you write a plan in order to spend the money, right? You want to create a plan, how are we going to spend this $12 million? This is actually a little different. And what I encourage folks to do is kind of separate out that $12 million funding from our plan, because our plan, we're really trying to take a full stock of digital equity needs in Delaware, an asset inventory of all the organizations, like the ones here on this panel, that are working to address digital equity needs. And there are hundreds listed there. And we want it to be a document that can be used not just by our office and our grant opportunities, but by folks across the state. So that if organizations are seeking other funding opportunities, they can use our document as evidence of this is a priority, right? That other state agencies can use our document as they're trying to make their programs address digital equity in addition to the other things that they're working on. So when you look at our digital equity plan, what you're going to see is a lot of lists. It's the government, so we have a lot of lists, and it's 150 pages of all the different challenges that we've seen, all the different organizations that we've seen. And any folks who are watching, now all the organizations up here are already on our asset inventory, but you might be out there working on digital equity, and you may look at our plan and say, well, my organization's not listed. Let us know that. We really need that kind of feedback so that we can add you to the list. Please don't be offended if you're not already on the list. Well, you can choose to be however you want, but it really is not meant to be a slight against any organization. It's just, we're doing this kind of one organization at a time, vetting what they do for digital equity. And so, it's a fairly labor-intensive process. So please email us, let us know about your organization, what you're working on, and we will add you into our digital equity inventory. The major needs that we have seen, and they're reflected in the panel today, device access is the absolute number one thing we have heard about in terms of digital equity needs in Delaware. That folks may have access to the internet, they want to do job training, they want to do remote learning, but they don't have a laptop, they don't have a tablet. They're trying to take coding classes off of a little cell phone, and it just doesn't work, right? It's not even close to practicable, and they need laptops and tablets that are affordable, and laptops and tablets that are affordable, but also have IT support that they can get repaired if they break. Number two is digital skills for seniors, absolute necessity. One thing we hear a lot about that's really unfortunate are proliferation of scams, right? As more and more digital world has come into play, it's opened a door for bad actors to come in and try to take advantage of folks. So we hear a lot about the need, and you'll see this in our plan, the need for folks to have more education around how to recognize scams and just how to, all kinds of digital skills, how to access their doctor's offices, web portals so they can see the results of their tests and report how their prescription drug, monitoring is going. After that, I would say workforce is probably our third biggest thing that we hear about. And you'll read more about that in our plan. That a lot of folks in Delaware know that these good paying digital jobs, tech jobs are out there, but they don't know how to access them. They feel out of reach. When the reality is a lot of great tech jobs they don't require a 4-year degree, certainly. A lot don't even require, a 2-year associate's degree. There are a lot of great entry-level jobs for folks who are trying to break into the tech space. And I'll add a lot of great programs already working here in Delaware to get folks that access. So those are the top ones we're seeing. We've also heard a lot about disability access. You can read more about that in our plan as well. And so there's a lot going on that we can hopefully address in Delaware. Not just our office, but all of our great nonprofits, all of our great government agencies can work to address. And we're going to hear a bit about some examples of the work happening in Delaware. And again, what I hope that this pulls out from our folks viewing at home and in their offices, inspires you to look more into the plan, into what these there could be great partnerships created, these organizations that maybe you've heard of but didn't necessarily know. Like, I didn't know how much the library was doing on digital equity until I talked to Alta. So you might know the organizations, but not necessarily know all the great work that's happening. Hopefully we can create some great partnerships and synergies, inspire some more folks to get into the work, and inspire folks to come and look at our plan and provide comments if you'd like. And there's instructions on how to provide comments in the plan itself. So with that, we'll just go down the table and folks can talk about what are your organizations doing? What are the barriers that you see? What are the things that could really be scaled, or if you could dream big, what would be the things that you would love to fix in your communities? And then we'll have some conversation and follow up from there. So Jessica, do you want to kick us off?
Thanks. So I'm in the right place. So I like to dream big. So
Great.
Thank you so much. So as I reviewed the digital equity plan, that's very well written and very detailed. So thank you so much for putting that together. Out of the 5 priority areas, there are 3 that really talk to our mission. Accessing computers, having access to technology, having access to the ability to not incur college debt, but be able to create stackable skills in the world of technology and IT certifications, and having those in your community. And I want to start off with talking about the challenges, because you reference how people just don't know where these services are. And I think there's an opportunity here to really be realistic about, not that communities may not be aware where they are, but our organizations like us talking to those communities. And NerdIt CARES does a really good job of prioritizing marginalized communities and everyone that lives in those communities, despite what their background is or what their skin color is, because we recognize that communities that are victim by circumstance all have the same impact, right? They all are working through the same challenges. They all are hungry. They all may not be receiving the proper medical insurance. They all may not have reliable transportation. They all may not have engaged with technology because it's something that doesn't really exist commonly in underserved communities. And that's where the equity really exists and the equitable challenges exist. There are opportunities and challenges all in the same community. And for us, we look at all these challenges as opportunities. How do we create an organization that hears the needs of the community, sees the challenges, and fill those gaps? And we do that really well with our workforce development program that's available to everyone. And we say that because anyone can participate in our programming. We do have some requirements, and they're not in the area of how much money you make or what school you went to or what type of job that you had before, but really in the area of what has life been like for you and why technology? Why? Because it's not easy, right? And the community and underserved communities look at technology as a thing over there, a thing that is hard for me to touch or be part of because it just seems like not a lot of people who look like me are in those spaces or come from my communities. So we create an environment where folks feel safe. They feel trusted, they feel supported, they feel valued, they feel encouraged, they feel like they can do this. They can do this because we're intentional about reflecting the community in which we serve. We're intentional about being intentional, recognizing when students may not be eating at lunch, recognizing when students may be waiting outside for a ride, and how do we fill those gaps? And we do that through our barrier fund and providing support to those individuals. Our programs are free. We have partners throughout the state, Barclays and other corporate partners and individual donors who support our work, and we're really grateful for their support because they see what we see. They see the challenges in the city. They see the opportunities of hope in our city. We see homeless people walking through our community. We have an individual that comes into our office. He has to be in his 60s. And I shared this with my team, and they're probably watching smiling right now. I wish we would have been able to catch him 20 years ago. He loves technology. He's just at a later part of his life that employment may not be something that he might be want to do right now, but you can see his thirst and love for technology and his engagement when we talk to him. He just hasn't had an outlet, right? Imagine creating that outlet for individuals who college is not an option for them for many reasons. What if someone says, look at a computer and I'm going to play with this and find a love for it, like our founder, Marquivas Gideon. You know, someone gave him a computer in high school and said, play with this. And look at us today, you know, talking about digital equity. He was way before his time, and making sure that people have access to technology. Through our donation program, individuals receive them through various avenues through computer. They're refurbished computers with the intent that we want you to learn how to use it. And to your point, and what the plan talks about is how do we get people workable devices so they're not working and going to the doctor and living off of a cell phone, going to school off of a cell phone, because it limits the opportunity. So we provide refurbished computers throughout the community, and as we're growing, we also are providing new laptops to those same individuals who learn how to use them, engage, and are able to get new computers and or need a refurbished computer because they don't have one. So we're really excited about the opportunity to work with the state and provide these services to the community on an ongoing basis. And we're in Wilmington, so folks can stop into our space. We have a repair store in our space as well that our students work in. So when you come to our repair space to get your phone or your tablet or your computer fixed, you'll be engaging with an instructor and or a student who's been trained in that space to work in their own community.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love I love hearing about this kind of thing. It's so life-changing to people.
Absolutely.
And there can be folks, you're talking about folks who necessarily don't, because you can be a really bad student in school. Like school doesn't work for the way your mind works, and an amazing coder or an amazing computer repair technician, because it's just a different way of thinking that we don't always encourage in schools.
Well, in schools and in areas where equity is challenged, we don't hear about that stuff because they're talking about feeding and being hungry and being safe and crime and housing. That's their focus. That's their priority. So parents want their kids to do well. Victim of circumstance is what holds these communities back. We have a student who's participating in our program who, quite candidly, if we didn't engage him with employment, we don't know if he would have been alive today. But he scored highest on our assessment and came from one of the most underserved communities. And there's this notion that based on where you come from is who you are, and that's not the case. And we provide opportunities to those individuals and say that is the case. We have an individual who lives on the Route 9 corridor who came to us working in Target, $30-something thousand a year in his early 30s. And now he's working from home doing network engineer work, making almost $87,000 a year. And he lives right around here somewhere, right around here on Route 9 corridor. So when we talk about changing lives and digital equity and generational pattern change and being consistent and forthright and genuine, we're intentional about that. And we're intentional about all the work, and we also are realistic about the challenges and try to mitigate those as often as we can.
That's awesome.
Good.
And it used to be that I think we thought of computers as something that was like a young person's game. But in today's society, you have to be really, to get full benefits in everything you need in society, you really have to be able, to work in digital spaces all throughout your life. So Sheila, what's some of the work that ACL used to work? I'm sorry, not ACLU, I'm sorry. AARP is working on,
I love what you're doing. I really love what you're
It's
doing.
amazing.
And
Thank
I have
you.
brought devices in as I've upgraded
Thank you.
and left them to be rehabilitated. So I'm really excited to be here. So I think probably a lot of the people you work with are younger people. So I'll flip the switch here and talk about older people. We serve the 50-plus population, and we are included as a covered population in the Digital Equity Act, so I'm really glad that we were invited here today. Digital equities are really important to older adults. High-speed internet allows them to access telehealth services, and it's hard for them to get to the doctor many times. Combat isolation, which has serious consequences for older people by helping them stay connected with family and friends, access online platforms for government services, remote work and job searches, lifelong learning sessions, and streaming services for entertainment, just for a few. Yet studies show that older adults are less likely to have high-speed internet connection. In fact, the American Community Survey, part of the U.S. Census, found that nearly 7 million U.S. households with residents 65 and over have no computer device of any kind. AARP has advocated for digital equity on behalf of older adults for many years at the federal and the state levels. I have somebody in Washington right now checking out the Delaware plan, so we'll be making comments on that. Our key objectives in all that work are affordability, availability, reliability, and sustainability. Unlike simply turning on a faucet to get water or flipping a switch to get electricity, using high-speed internet requires digital literacy, so older adults in particular may need ongoing training and technical support to benefit from access to broadband and to use their devices. You mentioned fraud, some work about fraud. Seniors are one of the populations that are often targeted with online fraud. It's happened in my own house with my husband, and it's scary for people. We do a ton of work on that. That's a big big issue for us, educating about fraud. In 2004, AARP's foundation created this thing called OATS, an organization, Older Adults Technology Services, and they provide older adults with the tools and training to take advantage of today's technology. They offer an in-person and online training through a Senior Planet program. So I would encourage everybody to look up Senior Planet online and see all of the free online trainings that are available there. The Digital Equity Act investment of $2.7 billion is an awesome opportunity to lay the groundwork for a digital inclusion ecosystem that can exist long beyond the life of this money and the Digital Equity Act. If we can't sustain these efforts beyond the DEA, we will have failed. And I know you're thinking about that too. It shouldn't just be a one-time investment. Sustainability for Delaware's plan means that we need to continue meaningful community engagement, which is great to see this here today, during the implementation and the evaluation period. So now is the time to define what success will look like in our communities and to decide how to get there. We are looking for an ongoing commitment to continue to provide the data collected and reported during the plan's development. So we recommend creating an easy-to-use digital equity dashboard with data and maps so that stakeholders can monitor availability, adoption, and affordability, which would include speeds and prices. We are still reviewing the draft plan, and we will submit public comments. And thank you so much for inviting us here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And one of the first meetings I had when I took this, so our office has only been in existence for about 6 months or so, and there were people working on this for years in Delaware, but one of the first meetings I had was with the Delaware Libraries because I'd heard so much of what was going on there that was really innovative and interesting, and so I'm really excited that you're here, Alta. And please let us know, what are the libraries working on in digital equity?
Well, I'm going to go back over 20 years. Libraries have been working with digital literacy for over 20 years, right? They've been working with people getting jobs. So we have experience in that area, and we were thinking, 15 years ago that, this would be something we would train the people, and then the younger people would learn in school, and then we wouldn't have to do this. Here we are today. Like, it has, the need for it hasn't changed. So what's happened is that we've had, for 20 years, we've been having in-person classes of all different levels. We've had one-on-one tech help. Sometimes people will actually bring in their computers, even sometimes their standalone desktops, right? Their cell phones and all that. Which can be, often we have to have that conversation as well, probably it's time to go ahead and retire this one. But a lot of it needs to be hand-holding, right? Especially for people that haven't been used to a computer. But I have the personal experience. I used to work with the job centers way back 10 years ago during the recession, and we had an influx of money. We were able to Wi-Fi all the libraries back in 2010 and had these job centers. People come in looking for a job, and the reason why they were looking for a job is they had no money. They didn't have food. They didn't have a house, any place to stay that night, on and on and on. So we're helping them with social terms of health, social service type things, as well as trying to help them with getting a job, which means computers. Because everything, social services, you use the computer to find things, right? You look up your things on your notes and online and all that. So the thing is that I've had people that have never touched a computer, and one of the easiest and best stories to envision is that a gentleman came in, and he was a welder. And he had never touched a computer in his life, and I was busy. Was really busy with a lot of people in the room. It's an open lab, and where people just come in and get help. And I said, you can do this. You've got good hand skills, right? Precision work. And he was able to, within seconds, his mouse control is like, my gosh, I wish I had this good as mouse control. Didn't know, I never typed, but I said, the alphabet, just find it, because I can only spend so much time with everyone, type of thing. So encouraging people, it's a machine. You're not going to break it. You can learn this type of thing. And some people need a lot more, like you said, need more time in going over the same thing over and over again. So that takes time itself. We also have North Star, and we have a full-time AmeriCorps Vista, who's going to different organizations. So you're hearing this on Facebook. He's asking organizations if they would like to learn more about North Star. It is a free online tool that people can sign up throughout the state. You don't have to be within any organization or anything, but we thought organizations could get the word out, right? So this online tool is you learn computer skills. Now, to be honest with you, I personally think a person, when they first do the first class, they need someone there to help them with the mouse and help them with an email and all that. But you've got, if the organization doesn't have the time, we've got the libraries here, right? 33 libraries. Within a year and a half, 2 years, we'll be having a 34th one up in North Wilmington. And we have, all of the libraries have public computer spaces. And all of them have some laptops that they can bring into another room for a private class, or have the luxury of having another private open lab. And when I say private, it means it can be shut door and it can be for classes. So we have partners, and I'm doing the plea of partners, right? So we've got wonderful partners here that come in and teach classes. Some of them are ESL, GED. Stand By Me coming in and doing things. We're trying to work on a house right now with Latin American community coming in, a lot of tabling events and all that. So we're looking for people to utilize our spaces, utilize our resources, because it's not Delaware Libraries resources, it's the state's resources. We have wonderful funding through tax dollars, which happens to be everyone's money, right? So the other thing I do want to say, as far as the space goes, and I'll stop because I warned everyone I'm a talker, is that we have, in the summer, we had 18 libraries had summer associates through AmeriCorps that taught digital literacy classes, often one-on-one, as well as affordable connectivity program. We also have in the libraries, that was for a summer program. We're hoping to get that again next summer, until we can get more of that $12 million to get actual people that will stay in the library and do this work, as well as 13 of our libraries have teleservice spaces, private spaces, where we have wraparound services where a person can come in and get other help for be it a job, social services, as well as using the space for a virtual meeting with either a doctor, therapist, lawyer, immigration, on and on type of thing. So the other thing I'll hold off of this is that the libraries are 33. We're at the very most 7.5 miles apart from each other. Up in Newcastle, it's only about 3 to 4 miles apart from each other. And they have hotspots in Chromebooks for you to take out in circulation at most of the libraries. And so there's a lot of possibilities. So please get in contact with me. We'll make things happen.
So, yeah. Yep. Great. Thank you so much. Francisco, Latin American, we had a Zoom meeting with Latin American community centers, and I think it's an example of the ways that digital equity work can amplify existing work that organizations have been doing for decades, right, but can make it more impactful, spread wider. So love to hear what the Latin American community centers are doing.
Yes, I think COVID has challenged us at the Latin American setting, because in the past we used to have 100% in-person services. And now I started my relation with the LICC with COVID in July 2021. And at that time, my first experience was, okay, now we're gonna have 200 plus kids in the building, because now they have to study remote. So what can we do for them? So we were able to partner with Comcast, and we were able to put the lift on. So now every single day from Monday to Friday, we have 200 plus kids doing their homework, during the classes from our center. Also, our prevention and advocacy programs, nobody was in person, so they started using, social media in order to continue providing the services and create awareness about the issues, the social issues going in the Wilmington area where we provide the services. We, FSS, I started with, ESL. ESL in the past, we used to have 60 students in person, and we started offering virtual classes. And it was well received by the students, because they started realizing that they were learning, they were saving time in commuting, they had more time with their families. And nowadays we have 200 plus students studying English virtually. We have a long waiting list. But when we start with the ESL, the first thing we realized is that the students, like you mentioned, they were studying from cell phones, from tablets, and it was not a quality education. So we did the effort to partner with other organizations, and we provide them Chromebooks. We start to lend them the Chromebooks because we want to give the opportunity to everybody. So I started this month, and then I finished my semester, and I was deciding not to continue because XYZ reason. We request them to bring back the Chromebook so we can give it to another student. So because, as you mentioned, one of the main issues is that they don't have access to computers or laptops because they're pricey, right? So once they start receiving the Chromebooks, then, but you know what? we can do this on the Chromebook, but why not? You have Chromebook, you have internet. Yeah, but my signal is not that strong. So we find another partner that we start providing Wi-Fi extenders so they can have a better quality signal in their home, so to avoid any kind of homework gap, right? Because of the speed. And once we provide them, then the instructors were telling us, hey, you know what? I mean, the 14 classes sessions that we're providing is not enough. How come it's not enough? No, because I'm spending like half of the sessions explaining them how to navigate the Chromebooks, how to access this, how to access that. So they realized, okay, so this is a good opportunity for us to, all people in the waiting list moving forward, they have to go through the ADL program because we are gonna teach them how to access the Chromebook, how to create an email, how to navigate the web browser, what is this, what is that. So right now, this year we've had today we have almost 80 students in our ADL. In the past we used to have 5, 6, right? And now the people who already graduate from level 1, because level 1 we test them like they go through North Star. 75% of them pass the North Star course right now, but now they want, okay, now I wanna learn how to use Microsoft. How can I create a resume? How can I create a document? So we have implement level 2. So now we are providing that instruction to them. So once they are ready in those, we connect them with workforce development. Good. And Diana, who's here with me, she has, also Daniela is in charge of ESL. They both have made an amazing work. Right now, workforce development today, we have served 301 people, clients, searching for a job. We have helped them to build 166 resumes. We have submitted 416 applications. 25% were able to be placed in a job. But also we support them with other things. For example, employment scam. Now that everything is virtual, how to prevent that? How to educate them in how to use the best way the website, right? In order securities website, correct. Also, if they don't have a computer, we send them to the Ronnie Square lab, so they can have access to computers. They can do the resume. They can do everything from there. Diana have sessions one-on-one with them, and that's how we are supporting right now them. And our other services right now are hybrid. Some of them require to be in person. Some of them require to continue providing them the virtual support, right? And the other program that, it was also very impactful was the senior program. With COVID, we were noticing that they start having a lot of mental issues, depression, because before COVID, everything was in person. They have field trips, they have everything, but with COVID, they were in the building, in their houses, and doing nothing. So because of my experience, because I immigrated from Peru to America, and I was working the YMCA in Peru down there, and I had those similar programs. So I connect with my former peers, and we started like a international cultural exchange, virtual. So we connect with seniors down there. We provide them iPads. They had internet access to internet. So they had like 3 sessions per week where they were able to interact with those seniors down there in Spanish, because our seniors also speak Spanish. So it was a blast for both ends. And now we are continuing them with providing the iPads, but now we are going back to cybersecurity. How to identify a phishing email, what to do, should I communicate that to my program director or to my coordinator so they can help me? So we are in that situation right now. But yeah, the LACC now, is providing good support. As you mentioned, lack of devices is one of the main issues that now we're facing, because they don't have the resources to buy a nice smartphone that provide a fast accessibility. Studying from a small device is not quality, so that's where we are right now.
That's great, and I understand that one of your Diana's here, and maybe it was you, Diana, or someone from your organization gone to the Hispanic Federation conference. Yeah. Were there any if you're welcome to come up to the table if you'd like, Diana, but or actually it would be good to, because of the there's a microphone that we need to. But were there any takeaways or lessons from that conference that you think would be useful for folks here in Delaware to be aware of?
There were several. So we discussed, we went to the Hill, we went to Ms. Rochester's office and Senator Cruz's office, Senator Carper's office, and built the case. Like, this is why we need support with digital literacy. Thank goodness they're all for it. Nobody's against it. However, the devices are a large issue. But another issue that we're having specifically at the Centro Latino is workforce development, ESL, and ADL. We collaborate. We work together. So it's a flow. Everything is one web. But only 10.3% of Latinos are enrolled in a broadband program. And many do not have access. So there are 381,000 plus households that are eligible to have internet. However, only 46,229 are enrolled. So we have over 150,000 people that can be in a program, have access, and do not have it. So that was a big takeaway. Another thing that we are realizing now within workforce development and ADL is even the phone is not enough. They need an actual device. The phone is not enough. But the phone has allowed us to give our clients access to health care. We have many agencies here in the state of Delaware that will not, if you're a brand new client, your first appointment is going to be a virtual appointment or a phone appointment. It is not a walk-in. And we had to identify the fact that over 70% of the people enrolled in our program don't speak any English. So we have several barriers that are in front of us, and then how are we overcoming them? The medical was a big thing. That's huge for us. We allow the seniors now because they have access. They can now use their phones, use their tablets. We had a program last year where many of them received tablets as a Christmas gift from donors last year. So they were able to benefit from that. So all of those things were important. But Kent and Sussex, that's even heavier than it is over here in Newcastle County. It's more rural. We need that infrastructure built so that those people can have access, because they are in rural areas that they don't have it. They don't have it, but they're eligible for it. So imagine going through, can't fathom not having the internet anymore, because it's like having running water. You know, it's like having electricity. It's like having indoor plumbing. It is a necessity. So we need to move on that. So,
absolutely, and that's, sorry, Alder, if I can just real quick, just tee up, and then you can go into, because that was perfect, Diana,
Thank you. Was perfect.
One thing I think that all of your programs and our programs, I know that folks face this. So for many of us, we take it for granted that we know how to use a computer, we have access to the internet, right? But a lot of folks who don't might have some hesitancy about coming forward, right? They might be embarrassed. People don't really like to ask for help all the time, right? And so what are some of the barriers that you see, or ways that you can, maybe lessons of how to overcome that hesitancy? Because so many of these programs do have more capacity to serve more people than are coming in the door or ringing on the phone. So what are some of the reflections that you have about how to reach more people? Because the need is there, but we have to identify who they are in order to be able to help them. And anyone's willing to go.
Let me real quickly say, while it's in my mind, I think it's the fear of that ongoing bill every month. So affordable connectivity would help overcome that. And the other thing is the fear of scams. Like you could do your banking online. Oh no. You could shop online. Oh no. I try to get my mother to order, she's a reader, try to get her to order books on Amazon. Oh no, I had to get her a gift card from some store called Powell's that allows you to, I could preload the gift card and she could call the 800 number and order a book, just fear of those scams. And so we work on that a lot at AARP. We have a Fraud Watch network. We do a lot of education. We're going to have a bill this year about gift card fraud. So it's an ongoing battle though, because the people doing fraud are really smart, and they keep every time you catch them, they move on to something new and a new place and a new 800 number, and it's ongoing.
So I'm just going to jump on that. So I feel like a marketer right now. So Amazon's great and all, but remember, library card, you can get it for free. And we have ebooks and audiobooks, right? And if you don't have internet at home, you can download it at a library and then bring it home to read and listen to. And I just wanted to say about Kent and Sussex County, I actually live in Kent. And so I have staff throughout the state, so I hear stories of woe every day from Kent and Sussex County as far as all different types of needs and benefits and transportation, but especially the internet. And if you haven't been around the internet or have the capability to use it, the computers and all, you really need a lot of help. Right? So when July 6th of 2020, some of the libraries in Sussex opened. This is, COVID. It was the first libraries to open downstate. I was there, and I was there at the Seaford Library, a bunch of partners there helping people, and the influx of people coming in from Wilmington. I actually had interns, social service interns, that couldn't find a space upstate to work, so they were driving from Wilmington down to Sussex to work helping the people, and the influx of need was there. And what they needed was services, and what we do is we hop on the computer to find them and help them with things. So especially when the vaccine started coming in, where you could get a vaccine if you're 65 or had more medical issues, and the amount of people that were coming in were just lineups of people trying to get the COVID vaccine, and all that. So it's a real need. It's a real need for people to trust the people they're talking to, so they feel comfortable enough to talk about their problems. So often it'll be one little softball question, and as you start listening to them and talking, you get more and more of what they need. But you're right, libraries can help a lot more people. Now, I'm sure my staff is hearing that, and they're going, but it means money. Right? So we've got the computers, we've got the broadband and all that. We're just going to need more help with partners helping us, and with and all, to be able to make this happen. But our state can make this happen. We've got the infrastructure, honestly. As far as the library spaces go, and you're working very hard on, you're really whittling down the amount of spaces, houses that do not have broadband. So that's really good. I just keep seeing the numbers going down and down and down. Yeah. So it's very encouraging.
Yeah.
So if I may, we're talking about COVID and the impacts of COVID, and during COVID, we heard the community loud and clear. We distributed over 10,000 devices to the community, whether that was community organizations, seniors, or parents that needed them. And one of the things, as we reflect on that level of impact, is how do we, to your question, really engage in the challenges that are happening in access? And it really is going into our communities. NerdIt CARES does a great job at doing that, but community centers like Rose Hill Community Center, My Census Keeper, do an exceptional job of reaching out into the community. And through our CARES Cafe model, we're looking to partner with those groups and provide computer labs in those spaces. So now the person doesn't have to find out about a workforce program that's happening a few miles away, but across the street, they can find out about that through engaging in a computer program, having access to a workable device, and then engaging in understanding what programs like NerdIt CARES does, programs like AARP does, and the libraries do, so that the community is the access point. Yet libraries are throughout the state, and they're awesome opportunities and awesome assets in our community, but we have to understand that communities have preferences, right? Doesn't mean that one group is better than the other.
Right.
A group may love Rose Hill and have been going to Rose Hill since before they were born, right? And their allegiance and their comfort, it might be Rose Hill and the library, but there might be an added piece that makes me want to go to it at Rose Hill. So we want to make sure that we're creating those engagement opportunities with the community and saying, here's a cafe that we're partnering with this community center on, access the computer lab. And we have this cool idea of creating a punch card of programs that you go through to talk about the fundamentals and all these additional opportunities. And at the end of that, you get a brand new laptop, right?
So cool.
With potential funding and partnership, we hope to be able to offer a lifetime to IT support to that device. Because what we do see, to everyone's point, is that once we give them the device, that's great, but how do we help them maintain it so that it's an asset and the relationship is sustainable between me and my device? Because as you said earlier, technology is the only way to engage these days.
Right.
You know, you can try not to, but
Right.
that's really the only way to truly engage. And our big hope, when we talk about dreaming big and thinking really big, is to be able to come back to those cafe partners and access broadband on those communities. So we know about the ACP program, we know about those, but what if there was no program and I was able to just click on a Wi-Fi link that's available to my immediate community and everyone in my community based on a cell phone, tablet, or a laptop? That we want to be able to provide all those and mitigate those challenges. So it's not an issue no more, right? We're
Yeah.
not talking about why, we're just talking about when
Yeah.
and how do I get a device.
That's awesome. And you mentioned ACP. If I could just, I'll come to you, Diana, in a second. But I want to underline for everyone what the ACP program is and how to get on it. So we're talking about undersubscribed programs. The Affordable Connectivity Program. Way more people are eligible for it than are subscribed to it. And what this program does is a federal program run by the Federal Communication Commission where you can get up to $30 a month discounted on your internet subscription. So you have an internet service provider, you pay them a monthly fee. If you're up to 200% of the poverty line, you can get $30 a month off of that program through this program, the Affordable Connectivity Program. You can learn more about it at our website at broadband.delaware.gov. Or if you go to affordableconnectivity.com, that's another our website really just links to that website. But there's really great information out there. Again, Affordable Connectivity Program. You can also go to your local library, and they have information if you don't have access to the internet and need to get something in person. Our libraries have been great partners, as is Latin American Community Center, I should say, and I'm sure AARP and NerdIt as well, in spreading the word about the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Can I add something to that really quickly before
Yeah,
you move
sure.
on? There's a notion that it's $30 off of a bill. I think it's Comcast actually has a bill, a plan targeted to that population where your bill actually becomes $0. You just have to be diligent to go through the process to be able to get that. So that removes the challenge and the bill for those who are watching, and you're actually zeroed out and you don't have to pay a bill.
Yeah. Once you're eligible for the program, it's very easy to
Yes.
get the subsidy. It goes really through the provider. I will say getting access to the program is not as easy as I would like it to be for everyone. There can be some paperwork involved, but if you're already enrolled in any other federal benefit program, it's very easy. But if you're not, there's some paperwork, but also our office, there are ways to help you through the process of qualifying for ACP. I'm sorry, Diana, go ahead.
A big way to gain the trust of the client is removing other barriers. At the Latin American Community Center, their partnerships are essential to how we do our work, our complete partnership. So you can have someone come in who's a little wary about being on the internet, but has a different barrier: food insecurity, housing, immigration services, English as a second language. All of those services are provided at the Latin American Community Center. So by removing those barriers, we develop a trust with the client that allows them to be better engaged and be willing to enroll. The partnerships are essential. So we have a partnership with the YWCA where after they finish adult digital literacy, they can go and get a Google certificate for free there. In various, in IT, in program management, in several areas. So that's another way that you can increase their income, find them a better job, get them into the food bank and provide them and remove that food insecurity, be an assistance for that. So that is a big way on how we, and Unite Us, you know, we're all, many of our agencies are enrolled in Unite Us.
Right.
So we're able to, especially specifically with us, we receive a lot from Christiana Care.
Yeah.
So they're sending people over that have a different barrier, and they, guess what? They need to get in an ESL class, and you'll get that referral. They need to enroll in an adult digital literacy class. They need a job. They need a resume, etc. So being in that network of partners, really, you gain that client's trust, and that's a big part of how we remove that, how we help the client.
Yeah, and another piece is grassroots work. I mean, doing outreach. I mean, something that is working very for us with the HOST program is that we're going to look for our community, in this case the Latinos, in Spanish, providing them support in Spanish. So That's how you build trust, right? Also support. I mean, if we refer them to other organizations, we know that the organization has a bilingual support, and if not, we are there to, as a translator. So that's another how we can partner and be able to get the word out about these digital equity opportunities. And that's pretty much what has been successful for us right now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I forgot to say a barrier that we're finding, and it took me like 5 years to knock over my head to a slow learner, that helping people with on computers and helping them with jobs, resumes, and job searches and all like that, and it was reading. They would always call me over. I can't find this. They were looking for how to apply for the job, and I go, and I'm a fast reader. So, there it is, right there. So I always thought it was because I was a fast reader. And they're sight readers. They can read, but as the internet's gotten bigger and more robust, and all the flashing ads and everything, there's so much on the page that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. So that literacy piece is a really important part. There's a coalition with different groups. It's called Council on Excellence. The library right now is the backbone, where we're wanting more. We want more partners, Delaware Literacy and others. A really large a partner advisory board is involved in working on those things, not only for children literacy, but really the adult literacy piece. Because you can teach computer skills, but if they can't read, they're going to need someone to help them.
Yeah.
So that's something that it was. I don't know. It was, like I said, I was a slow learner on that.
Well, and it's something that I think a person we were hoping to have on the panel, but unfortunately couldn't make it, was representative of the disability community. Because if you have visual impairment or hearing impairment, there are devices that can help interpret websites for you, so you can fill out forms and gain access. But it does add another layer that we need to help address, to make sure everyone's aware of that accommodation and they can get those devices for no cost in an ideal world. Something that's been mentioned a few times, I'd love just to expand a little bit as maybe our final topic is, so our office, as I think Alta mentioned, we have two roles. Digital equity is a big part of what we do. We also build out internet infrastructure to homes and areas that don't have any access to the internet, right? And what's kind of become unfortunate a little bit in how this is talked about in Delaware is, okay, digital equity is the urban-suburban problem, and connectivity is the rural problem, right? When really, digital equity is a huge problem all across the state, and there's connectivity problems in the city of Wilmington. And so I know this has been mentioned a few times about work that's happening in other parts of the state that aren't, Newcastle County. I was wondering if anyone could just, maybe repeat or expand on some of the needs that you see in more rural areas and some of the things that are happening to address them, just to make sure that everyone's watching who might be in a more rural area does feel fully encouraged to get involved and know that this is a program for everyone in Delaware, regardless of where you live.
Well, I think folks should get engaged because it's our moral compass, right? At this point, technology and connectivity is of such that if you don't have it, you're not going to progress, right? And without evolution, our communities won't shift. But there is an opportunity, particularly in the Sussex and Kent County area, for us. Whereas if there was sustainable copper or Wi-Fi in the area, we could go down there and provide workforce development programming. Right now, if we do, it wouldn't be at our best, which doesn't provide the ultimate career-changing experience we want our individuals to engage in. So there are groups that are doing some work in I think it's the Seafood area, and Rob Herrera is doing some work down there. And we're looking forward to hoping that he would open up the gates for us, right, and the work that he does down there. But workforce development programs play a role in rural communities because economic development and employment stability is important in those communities. And in order to shift those communities and create greater opportunity, they need workforce development opportunities. They need access to training that they can get certifications where organizations like us can help them get jobs. And we can't do that without reliable connectivity. Some of our students go ahead and open up their own stores and provide their own services. They become entrepreneurs. They need those types of levels of connectivity in order to engage in that space. So we will love to work with you on that. We're employing on you all to really think about the opportunities that can be endless downstate, that we be able to replicate upstate, to take them downstate.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
All the libraries have high-speed internet. We're at a very thankful for the state for this, all right? So if you wanted to come to a library and do work classes, like we've had West End neighborhood houses at several of the libraries, including downstate, and other things, if you wanted to do a program in a library to do that, we would welcome it, right? Because that's what we're here for, is to welcome people in. CFA, for instance, the library there, they have a computer lab that is I don't know if it still is, but it was the only place where you could get your official GED and high school proctored to take the exam in downstate. Was the only one. This is prior to COVID, and they do all the testing, computer testing for all the certifications for all the different. And I don't know the alphabet soup of all the different computer things beyond the Google certifications and all that, the higher level on that. So there are things available, but the trials and tribulations people go through downstate. We each week ask our specialists and our interns and our social workers and all to give us stories of ones that they want us to hear, and it's overwhelming. Overwhelming the need and the problems, and you heard of that with Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester was at a session with us, and we had one of our specialists give a couple stories. Every week we have these amazing stories of what people go through to get the help that they need, and so with more connectivity and all that will really help them, and. We had a grant for the job centers way back. This ended in 2013, and our Joint Finance Committee heard one story and said we needed to fund this particular program because of what's happening. This young man had walked 7 miles to get to a library and was kicked out of his house. And they said the amount of things that happened with that one young man and how and he's not the only one. We have people all the time that walk a great distance. You talk about a disabled person can walk a mile and be like another person walking 8 miles, depending on their abilities. But if you don't have transportation, and not just transportation, because you can have people in Newcastle that have transportation going by, but if they can't afford it, they still have to walk. So walking's very much an issue to get to things. So that's another whole story. Yeah.
Well, that is all the time we have. It's just about 11 o'clock. And thank you, everyone. I've been getting updates about what's going on. We had a great crowd turnout virtually to watch, so I really appreciate everyone who's engaging on the subject. Appreciate everyone here in person at our discussion. Again, I want to thank everything that our office does. We're fully funded through federal grant programs, and it was all supported, voted on by our congressional delegation, Senator Carper, Senator Coons, Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, for their President Biden, for their leadership in creating the programs that are allowing us to close the digital divide here in Delaware, and particularly Governor Carney, who has made this a top priority of his administration. So very thankful to our leaders here in Delaware, to our leaders here at the table, and to everyone watching at home. Thank you so much. And last plug, go to our website, broadband.delaware.gov. Take a look at our digital equity plan, and you'll see how to submit comments on it. And we welcome really please do welcome all comments, because we want to make it as perfect a plan as it is. But also, it's an iterative plan that we will be updating in the coming years to make sure it's a living document that's updated with the great work happening here in Delaware and the identification of additional needs. So thank you all. Thank you to our tech support and help, and have a great day. Thank you all.
Yeah, at the end.